The Andy Pollin Show on ESPN 630, the sports capital.
This is Orioles preview. Orioles due to close out their series with the Blue Jays today at 12:30. Coverage here on ESPN 630 starts at 12:30. We are joined by Orioles reliever, and I struggle with this because I didn't take French, so I want to make sure, Danny, I pronounce your last name correctly. So please tell me how to pronounce your last name.
It's Coulombe. It's cool home without the H.
Okay. And how many times a day do people mispronounce your name?
I would say I rarely get anybody who gets it right. You know, one of my favorite things when I was younger was when the telemarketers would call because there's no chance they would get it right. I'd just hang up.
Your parents should have named you Joe. Then you could have gone by Joe Cool. Right? That would have fit pretty well.
Yeah.
You
know, it's funny you say that. It's funny you say that because the founder of Trader Joe's, his name is Joe Cool.
Oh, really?
So.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
cool.
That's what they used to call Joe Montana, Joe Cool. So, but
Joe Cool.
you have been cool through the storm. And I was going through your career, and you know we only have a half an hour left of the show. But if we went through all the ups and downs. Man, I mean, what kept you, because you went to 3 different colleges, you've been through various organizations, you finally made an opening day roster, 12 years after you were drafted. I mean, what kept you going through all the injuries and all the trials and tribulations that you had to go through?
You know, that's a good question. You know, I just felt like I wasn't done with my career yet. And, you know, my wife is just a rock, and she was just like, you know, this is where you feel called to do. Like, let's just keep going. And, you know, I just kind of kept getting offers. And I was always told when I was younger, you know, keep playing baseball until you just can't anymore, until you just don't have the opportunity. And, you know, you get to play a kid's game for a living. I mean, it's hard to pass that up.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but there must have been times, and I was reading through your bio, you played. How many innings did you actually pitch in college over those 3 different schools that you pitched at?
I think I threw about 40 years total in 4 years. Yeah. And I remember my last year there, I walked into my coach's office in college and told him, hey, I just like, you can take away my scholarship. Like, I'm going to go back and I'm going to focus on school. And then, you know, I'll try to walk on for you in the spring. Mm-hmm. And then that's actually the year I got drafted by the Dodgers. So I was like, oh, I guess this is my opportunity here. But yeah, I've probably quit or been close to quitting about 4 times.
Yeah, and you say 40 innings over 4 years. I mean, that's absolutely remarkable, especially the schools you went to, which are big time baseball programs. You know, the USC and Texas Tech. But there were just so many injuries, and I'm sure that there must have been conversations with people like, Danny, what are you doing? I mean, you're killing yourself. Why are you putting yourself through this? Right?
Oh, no doubt. You know, I remember probably the most memorable conversations with he actually pitched in the big leagues, and they got a guy named Steve Ontiveros. Mm-hmm. And I remember him being like, man, like, if we can't get your arm action back to like what it needs to be, like, man, I think that like you probably just need to be done. And you know, he was so instrumental in my career because he taught me my curveball, and he taught me, you know, essentially how to pitch. So yeah, you know, it's honestly been a pretty wild ride.
Yeah, no question. Having spent some time around minor league baseball, I know the advantage of being left-handed, Matt, that they will stay with left-handed pitchers a lot longer. Do you think that was really a key factor in extending your career like it did?
Oh, no doubt. If I was right-handed, there's no way I would still be playing baseball. Mm-hmm. You know, I was fortunate enough to get drafted by the Dodgers, who had another pretty good lefty who I like to watch pitch a lot in Clayton Kershaw. And, you know, we at the time had a lot of similarities, and that's why they liked me so much, because I was four-seam and curveball like him. So yeah, you know, it's been a pretty wild ride.
Yeah, you've been up with the Dodgers. You went to the A's, the Yankees twice, the Brewers, the Twins. Finally making an opening day roster, not necessarily because of performance of some of the years that you didn't, but because of injuries. But when you finally had those injuries behind you, and you make an opening day roster only 2 years ago, you're in your 30s. What did that feel like on opening day? I
mean, every opening day is a blessing. You know, I try to tell the younger guys here that, never take it for granted because you just never know how many of these you're going to get. And, I've been fortunate enough to have a few of them. And, man, what is it? 99.9% of baseball players never make it to play pro ball. And then less even make it to be in the big league. So it's just a blessing.
We're talking to Danny Coulombe, left-handed reliever for the Orioles, who's having a terrific season this year. And as I say, in his mid-30s, persevering through all kinds of injuries over the years to get to where you are. Do you feel like now that you're as healthy as you've ever been? I mean, are there certain things because of all the injuries over the years that you have to make allowances for?
Yeah, I wouldn't even say it's anything with the injuries over the years. I'd say it's more just getting older. I think that, it's a little harder to wake up in the morning and get out of bed, but, I feel great. I feel great now. And we have a great, training staff here and they do everything we can and, just stay on the field. And, I feel definitely ready to go.
And you're with a young group of guys. I mean, there are some veterans on there, but, in your mid-30s, you're an old-timer when you're talking about, guys like Rutschman and younger players. I mean, do they look to you as the elder statesman?
Yeah, the joke is, when we got Albert Suarez, there was another guy in his mid-30s on the team. It's definitely, I think I'm probably top. I think there's like maybe one other guy that's older than me on the team in Kimball. So, yeah, I definitely feel like one of the old guys, no doubt.
We're talking to Danny Coulombe, who is a reliever with the Orioles. Do you make some references sometimes and they don't get it? And you're like, you're kidding. You don't understand that?
Oh, no doubt. You try to avoid the back in my day kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because I debuted in 2014, but the game's changed a lot. So I try to avoid being that guy that's like, back in my day we used to do this. In fact, but it's kind of become a reality at this point.
Yeah, and the way that they use starting pitching now. I mean, how much has it changed? I mean, you're playing professional baseball in 10, 12 years ago when some of these kids are in elementary school. I mean, how much different is it? How much has the game changed in that period of time?
I think the best part about baseball is just how it cycles through things. When I first got called up, pitchers, starters usually went deeper in the games, and then I would even say like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it's more, hey, let's avoid the third time through the order. But I think the game is kind of actually swinging back all the way in the other direction, where it's like maybe we do need to let our starters go a little longer. So it's funny that's the beautiful thing about this game is things change and they usually just cycle back. So yeah, it's definitely an awesome game.
Talking to Danny Coulombe. A couple of other things before I let you go. One, I complained about this at the beginning of the show. My wife and I, we live in Germantown, so it's about a 45-mile ride. We went in traffic. We spent almost an hour and a half in the car to get to the game just in time to find out it was canceled. Okay, that's on me. I understand that. But from a player's perspective, right? You're getting ready for this game, and when did you find out? Was it the same time we did, only an hour before the game was canceled?
Yeah, we found out right when you guys did. It's a tough thing because we obviously want to play every game. Doubleheaders are really hard, especially with the 9-inning thing.
Right.
But yeah, we found out right when you guys did, and then I went home last night and played with the kids. We actually played a baseball game with the kids, so I did get a game in last night.
Yeah, and that's fine, and you deserve that. But I'm just saying, in terms of preparation, like when you're getting ready to play a 6:35 game, I know you're going to appear later in the game, if at all, depending on how things play out. But you got to prepare your body 2 hours before the game, 3 hours before the game, don't you?
Yeah, we still went out yesterday and played catch and did all that preparation. Usually for a reliever, you don't start preparation really until an hour before the game. So we were kind of waiting because we knew we were at least going to be like delayed. Right. So I was just kind of waiting. And then once it was canceled, you're like, okay, I'm going to take this as more of just a rest day then, rest my body and, get ready for tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Last thing. And we have something in common here. I am the brother of an autistic adult. Your son has been diagnosed with autism and your family is involved in autism awareness. Just give us a little, thumbnail of what you have been through as a family and what you are trying to accomplish in creating more awareness for this.
Yeah, Theo was diagnosed when he turned 3, and my wife has just worked wonders with just getting him involved in, earlier intervention. And, that's what we want to bring awareness to is like, having the label of autism or being autistic is not, it doesn't make, it doesn't change who you are. It's just, you just need some tools to help you along in life. And so we're just huge advocates for early intervention. It just changed Theo's world, just the way that he has been able to connect better and be able to communicate better. And so we just want to bring awareness to that, like, if you are even questioning that your kid might be on the spectrum, go get him evaluated. Go get, it's really going to benefit him in the long run.
And you say he's 3 years old. When did you first, start to see signs that there might be an issue?
Yeah, the first indicator popped up was he was a toe walker, and so we got him checked out by a doctor when he was about 1.5. And when that happened, they said, we don't know this for sure, but that's a very common thing for kids on the spectrum. So that was the first time we kind of had maybe an idea. So that was when he was 1.5 years old.
Yeah, and the key is, and with my brother, who's now going to be 65, they didn't know as much as they know now, but you can get a jump on this, and right, the earlier, the better in helping him along in life?
Yes, we saw great strides in the first year of getting him early intervention, and he's currently enrolled at Kennedy Krager, which is in Baltimore here, and that is just an amazing school, and they've already helped him so much just with occupational therapy, riding a bike, using a fork, and these things. He's just already. We've only gone like for a few weeks. We've already seen great strides in those things.
Oh, it's great. Great cause, obviously, that I'm behind and your family as well. And best of luck. I mean, Tom Brady played football until he was 45. You got kind of a later start in your career rolling along, but, I bet you got a lot of baseball ahead of you.
Man, absolutely. We're hoping to play for a while, but we're just going to take it year by year and, just enjoy the ride.
Exactly. Well, good to talk to you. Best of luck rest of the season.
I appreciate you.
Thanks. That's Danny Coulombe, who's an incredible story. Just all these. He went to 3 different colleges. He played over 4 years, 40 innings. That's it. The Dodgers, who had drafted him out of high school, did it again. They had taken him, I think, in the 17th round out of high school. After all the injuries and all the moving from school to school, they took him in the 25th round. 25th rounders are not supposed to make it to the major leagues, and especially 25th rounders who get hurt all the time, and he was hurt a lot. He persevered, made it through, and as he said, were he not a left-hander, he probably wouldn't be playing baseball now, but they have more patience with him, stuck with him, and now he's been a key performer for the Orioles and having an excellent season for them. We'll get to some of the numbers, plus where they rank in the MLB.com rankings. We'll get to that and more. It's Orioles Preview, ESPN 630.
The Andy Pollin Show on ESPN 630, the sports capital.
This is Orioles Preview. Orioles to close out their series against the Blue Jays this afternoon at 12:30. We'll have coverage here at noon on ESPN 630. And yes, we will get back to more on the Orioles. Just the NFL schedule release has just sucked the air out of all sports. So I just want to pass this along that Netflix has announced that they are going to do a Christmas Day doubleheader. We don't know the teams yet, but there was some speculation that Amazon was going to swoop in and get the Christmas Day games. Nope, now they're going to be on Netflix. I guess they're going to be produced by the NFL Network, I guess. Maybe that's Rich Eisen. I don't know who's doing the games, but there's that. Also, the international schedule is out. The Commander's not involved in any of that. The Friday night game, first time they've done a Friday night game, it's going to be in Brazil, and that's going to be the Packers and the Eagles. Then the 3 London games, Jets and the Vikings, the Jaguars, who play all the time in London, against the Bears, and they're going to stay there for another game against the Patriots. And then there's a game in Munich this year between the Giants and the Panthers. So we'll get the full schedule tonight and full react. Back to the Orioles, who have now slipped, I guess, because they didn't play last night, slipped a half game behind the Yankees. So they are now 26-14 on the year. And they have this last game before they take a day off, and then they take what is a Midwest trip. They go to St. Louis for this weekend, and then they will go to They will go to play the White Sox next week, so they're going to be on the road for a little bit. And as we look at where they are, even though they're not the number one team in baseball in terms of record, MLB.com has done their rankings, and this was host Alana Rizzo talking to Chris Russo. So it's Rizzo and Russo looking at the rankings, the power rankings on MLB.com.
For the first time ever in franchise history, Chris, the Baltimore Orioles are ranked number one as far as the top 10 is concerned. They have a lot of young and up-and-coming talent. We've talked about it at length. They have a good mix of the young core as well as the veteran presence there. So I want to know from you, Chris, do you agree with this list? Should Baltimore be number one?
Well, I think the top five, you can put them any order you want. I don't know if there's really a lot of dispute with, I guess you put the Yankees fifth because they lost 3 out of 4 to the Orioles. And you can't put the Braves over the Dodgers because they got swept, and they're not. I probably would put the Phillies myself. I might go Philadelphia because I'm looking at track record, and the Phillies have had more success in postseason in the last 2 years than the Orioles, who were swept last year. So I might go Philadelphia one, but I think we're quibbling. Again, they got the top 5 right. I mean, it's just a question of the order that you want to put them in. I would probably do Phillies 1, Orioles 2, Dodgers 3, Braves 4, Yankees 5. That's what I would do. I don't think it's a big deal one way or the other, so I'll live with the Orioles being number 1 at the moment. I'm a little surprised that Kansas City is over Seattle. I know that you're going to do a lot of this on record. I think Seattle's the better team than the Royals. The Royals are in a bad division. They also played 7 games against the White Sox. Seattle hasn't played the White Sox yet. So I might, if I was going to be, I might put the Mariners 10, and I might take the Royals out. That's the one change I could see myself making. But for our purposes here, Alana, I don't know how you'd feel about it. I probably would go Phillies 1, Orioles 2.
There you go. That's Chris Russo with Alana Rizzo on the Orioles and the power rankings. Again, their record 26-14, so that makes them the second best team in the American League. And if they were in the National League, they'd be a tick behind the Dodgers and the Phillies and the Braves. Boy, the Phillies are running away with things, 30-13 on the year. Nationals are going to play there this weekend. As far as the averages and the numbers for the Orioles, Adley Rutschman, who is, I think possibly, maybe not this year, but down the road is going to be definitely a high MVP candidate. He has played in all 39 games. Either he catches or he DHs. He's hitting .309. He's got 8 home runs, and he's driven in 25 runs. And then you have Gunnar Henderson. Maybe you'd like to have him on base a little bit more, but I think you're looking at it more the Kyle Schwarber model here. The batting average is higher. He's hitting .264, but leading the team with 12 home runs. 12 home runs from the leadoff spot. Baseball has changed a lot. You used to, in days before, guys like Ricky Henderson had power, but he usually wasn't the leading home run hitter on the team. Now the thinking is, you put a dent right in them if you have a leadoff home run. You lead off the game with a home run, they're already playing from behind. So Henderson, who can hit for average, and he was the Rookie of the Year last year in the American League, but leading them with 12 home runs and batting leadoff, and also tied for the lead in RBIs. Jordan Westburg having an excellent year at third base. He's hitting .298. He's driven in 27 runs with 6 homers. Ryan O'Hearn, who's having a good year, 5 home runs and 13 runs batted in. The outfield struggling a bit. Anthony Santander, he's batting only .212, and does have 7 home runs. So that's again, the numbers change over the years. So batting average not as important as it used to be. And Cedric Mullins, who continues to struggle, hitting .185. He does have 6 home runs with 18 runs batted in. As far as the starting pitching goes, they have gotten everything they wanted out of Corbin Burnes except for wins. They don't really hit for Burnes when he pitches. He's made 9 starts on the year, 53 innings. He's 3-2 on the year. He's given up 40 hits and 17 runs. His ERA 2.68. Grayson Rodriguez, remember he started last year in the minor leagues. He's been solid for them, making 6 starts with a 3.71 ERA. And Dean Kramer, also very effective, making 8 starts, pitched well, hasn't gotten the support that maybe he needs. He's got a 3-3 record in his starts with a 3.72 ERA. And as far as the bullpen goes, yes, they're still looking for a closer. That continues to be an issue for them as they are really looking for some help there, and that has been a continuing problem as they are now missing last year's closer. Craig Kimbrell has made 19 appearances, 16 innings, and his ERA way too high for a closer, 3.86. But, again, the power rankings have the Birds number 1, and we'll see what happens as they move on in the season. But right now they're battling the Yankees for first place, and they're a fun team to watch. And if the game is actually scheduled and they don't call it off an hour before, you have a chance to watch it. Again, haven't heard anything about cancellation today, but they are scheduled to play at 12:30 against the Blue Jays to close out the series before a day off. So we want to thank Danny Coulombe for joining us today. We want to thank Rex Minturn for running the show. Thanks to all of you who listen. Tony is coming up next. He's got a show today. He's got a show tomorrow, and he's off on Friday, as I will be as well, but I will be here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.